Good morning, I'm Clinton Griffiths. A deadly bird flu is hitting poultry producers hard this spring. However, it hasn't been nearly as devastating as 2015's avian influenza outbreak, which USDA officials labeled the most significant animal health event in U.S. history. AgDay's Michelle Rook joins us, and Michelle, the industry's learned a lot since 2015 that's really helping them combat this disease.
Absolutely, Clinton. And to date, more than 38 million birds in 35 states have been lost in this year's avian influenza outbreak. This is closing in on 2015, when USDA reported losses of 7.4 million turkeys and 43 million egg layers. But industry experts say that's where the similarity ends. In 2015, the high-path avian influenza virus was spread by lateral transmission, mostly through human contact. But Dr. Craig Rolls, president of the Iowa Poultry Association, says in 2022, the spread is much different.
This virus this time is circulating through a wide population of wild birds. And I mean, we're talking dozens and dozens of species of birds it's been identified in. And so our risk factors are slightly different.
They still aren't sure how the virus is getting into the barns, but do know it emerged earlier than in 2015 and has persisted with the cool spring. Rolls, who's also in charge of cage-free production for Versova, says that's because the virus has adapted.
Historically, avian influenza started as a low path, right, just a routine influenza, and it would get introduced into a domestic bird, and then it would mutate into high path. This particular strain of influenza started in Asia. It moved to Northern Europe a couple years ago, and then it finally got to our borders just in the last year. And it's been amazing how fast it has spread across all species of birds and the flyways. It's been remarkable.
In 2015, 5% of the wild bird population carried the disease. This year, it's estimated at nearly 35%. However, due to changes made in biosecurity protocols in 2015, one of the largest egg producers in Iowa, Centerfresh, has had only minimal losses in their 20 million layer operation this year.
In 2015, we were hit severely with bird flu. We had to put down 8 million birds in our facility. So far, this go around in 2022, we've only had one of our pullet sites hit with bird flu. So it's only affected about 240,000 pullets.
Indiana turkey producer Kevin Kalb's operation was also spared this spring, unlike the last outbreak.
No issues with the bird flu this year, just thank the good Lord. I don't ever want to go through that again. That was miserable.
He says biosecurity is the main reason his operation was not infected, while flocks just 10 miles away were hit.
You know, we got lines of separation in our buildings where, you know, you come in, you'll take your clothes off there from the outside, and then yes, you're in the same room, but once you jump over to the other side of that line, we'll put different clothes on that's only been in that building. You know, we got foot baths that we use. We wash our hands, sterilize our hands.
The industry as a whole spent millions of dollars to adopt this Danish system, and Rolls says it's been a strong line of defense against a virus that is spreading quicker over time.
In the outbreaks that are occurring in this year, the epidemiologists are telling us that our efforts have really limited the transmission of virus by that route, by human transmission of virus.
Which he says has likely prevented an even bigger bird flu disaster in 2022. Tomorrow we'll look at how the rapid response from industry and government ag officials is allowing the industry to repopulate herds faster and get eggs and poultry products back into grocery stores quicker than it did 7 years ago.